It's time for the Josh Kirby on Sports Podcast.
On this edition of the Kirby on Sports Podcast, we touch on the latest NFL headlines, along with covering Washington versus Dallas, the Bills and the Buccaneers, and the Rams versus the 49ers. All that and so much more, it's all coming your way next. You're listening to the Kirby on Sports Podcast.
Shout out Q. Shout out Q.
Indeed, I'm glad you connected. This is Dave Johnson, voice of the Washington Wizards. You have connected to the right place because you are listening to my man, Josh Kirby, on Sports Podcast.
Coming to you from the Trumbull Insurance Agency virtual studio. Turn your stress and anxiety into peace and security with Trumbull Insurance. Contact Patrick Bankemper today at 540-532-0622 for all your insurance needs. For our sponsors, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, and Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, this is another edition of the Kirby on Sports Podcast. We have a lot to get to, and we are back. The three-man booth, the
Full
Weapon
House
Dan-
boys.
Yes, Full House, the Weapon Dan Dembski, and the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez. Gentlemen, how are we?
Dan, I don't know if you listened to the last episode, but Kirby was very bitter about you going to Hawaii.
You know what? I didn't hear it. I asked him how last week went. He said he shat on me. So I was like, you know what? Forget about him.
How was
No.
Hawaii? Pretty good?
Well, I won't tell you since you're jealous. So
But you can tell me, right? Because we're friends. We're pals.
Oh, it was great, man. It was
yes.
great. It was fantastic.
Very
relaxing.
Not allowed to hear
You
this
committed a moral sin
tell you
to
what.
flying back on a Sunday, missing football.
I'll tell you what. The flights were hell. I mean, it was like 10 hours of flying to get back. So
Imagine.
with a 3-hour layover in between. So it was a long night, morning, and day flying back. So.
Pretty much, because you're going ahead in time, not back in time, like you were
it was,
on the way to Hawaii.
It kind of sucked. So it was a lot easier flying there and adjusting than it was flying back and adjusting. I'm still not adjusted yet. So
Those layovers must suck.
It's not bad because I just ate breakfast, drank coffee. That was it. Just kind of chilled. It's really not too bad. Not much else to do.
So we have a full slate for you today, starting off with some sad news, the tragic passing of Demaryius Thomas at the age of 33. We all remember Demaryius Thomas pretty well for the back when Tebow time was a thing, and Tim Tebow threw that touchdown pass in overtime against the Pittsburgh Steelers to Demaryius Thomas, number 88, to win that wild card game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, obviously, a tragic loss for the NFL as a community, as a whole, and he was just taken from us way too soon.
Yeah, you said it, man. Only 33 years old, and like you said, we think about some of the best moments from football in the last 10 years. And there's several of those moments that he was a part of, and you just hear and see all the honors roll or the players remembering him as his former teammates and stuff like that. And, nothing but positive words to say about the guy, about how great he was how great of a teammate he was, and how great of a person he was off the field. Not only in his actions but his charity and all that to the city of Denver and all the stuff he did while he was a Denver Broncos. So. Just a tragic loss. He was a fantastic player, an even better person, and he'll be missed for a long time for sure.
Yeah, when Peyton Manning is giving you those praises of like he was very thankful of the time that they spent together. I mean, that really hits because, Peyton's had a lot of teammates.
Oh, yeah.
And, that just like, it's sad. It's very sad because like he's 33 years old. I mean, that's only 7 years older than I am. Like, that's crazy to think that you could go and in being like a top athlete the way he was, I mean, and he probably still was. I mean, for him to go the way he did was kind of shocking, to be honest, when that all came out. So rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas. And we should probably have a moment of silence for him.
Well, I mean, one thing I'll say, I think we'll get to that. Sorry.
No, you ruined it. It's over. You ruined it.
Oh my God. Okay. So anyways, I thought it was a class act that Peyton Manning was out there supporting the cause and everything. Like, it was early, I think a Thursday when they announced. I remember I was looking on Twitter and it was right away. The news just came out and I was like,
I think it was during the Thursday night game that it came out, because you put in the message, you were like, there's a rumor, or I don't think you said rumor, but you said there's like early reports that Demaryius Thomas passed away. And at first I was like, that can't be true. I was like, where are you getting your news from? And then like literally like maybe like 10 minutes later, it was like a confirmed. And like,
I mean, it was stirring in the pot. Like, people were saying, Demaryius Thomas, is he dead? What's going on? So on and so forth. And to see the news break, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I was sort of stunned because, like,
very stunned.
I mean, I don't want to speculate how he passed, but still, it's like,
we know how he passed. It was a heart attack.
Oh, we know. Is that confirmed? I had no clue.
They said it was a heart attack or something.
Man, keep up.
But well, the rumor is, that it was like, could have been caused by a number of things. One of the things I heard was it could have been like pain medication or something, which
of course that's speculation.
That's speculation.
Saying that's fact. All we know for now is it was a heart attack that that was the reason why he passed.
Yep.
Well,
that's it right
sad across the board, but rest in peace. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Demaryius Thomas and his family during this rough time. One more headline here for us before we move into NFL action. COVID is spiking rapidly. The Washington football team has 11 positive cases, plus a tier 3 employee who has a confirmed case of Omicron. I mean, ironically, Odell Beckham tested positive right after the Monday Night Football game. We'll get into that game as well. But, I mean, COVID's spiking, and it seems like there are a lot of confirmed cases, a lot since this pandemic, like, was in its early stages. I mean, I can't believe it's like a year and a half with COVID now.
Yeah, and the crazy thing was it took this long this season to have a spike. I thought there would be several moments this year where we had a spike in COVID cases, but yeah, it's weird that we've waited until the last month of the season now until we finally had a bunch of cases. But yeah, it's crazy right now. There's 70 players in the NFL right now who have tested positive for COVID and are either going to be quarantined or quarantining right now. So that's insane. But it just goes to show you it's still here. it's definitely still here. And
speaking his head out, he's going, "Hello, I'm still here, guys. Don't forget about me."
People seem to forget. But it comes back, man. It's not something that's going to disappear. So
I mean, I think it's going to be something that we have to kind of get used to. I feel like COVID it's just going to constantly be an issue for the next few years, I imagine.
Who knows? Yeah.
I mean,
it's not going away anytime soon. That's for sure.
No, definitely not.
I like how the teams are enhancing the protocols to allow for stuff like this. They're moving everything virtual, but I mean, we'll get into this more. But
the Rams closed their facility. I mean, the Rams literally shut down their facility. They're not letting anybody in. So that's how bad it's gotten for them. They have tons.
The power of Zoom. Am I right?
Power. Sure. Yeah. Let's go with power.
Yeah, the power of Zoom. That you can do everything virtually. But I mean, the one thing that really I'm just confused.
Mhm.
Like, the Rams just played on Monday night, and here we are with a bunch of positive COVID cases. I mean, it's just confusing. Is it like transmitted on the playing field? I don't understand fully how like so quickly they're getting tested.
Listen, none of
and
us
it
here
comes
are
back.
any scientists. We don't know how, we're not.
Yeah,
we're just
I'm
But
just
listen,
thinking out
but-
loud.
I mean, football's a physical, in-your-face type sport. I mean, all these guys are going to be standing close to each other. They're going to be in breathing distance with each other in a lot of cases. I mean, that's how it spreads. It spreads through air. It doesn't spread on surfaces or anything like that. At least they've said since the beginning it really doesn't spread through surfaces. So that's it. I mean, you tackle someone and you're face to face with them or whatever at the bottom of a pile or whatever the case may be. So.
And it could also be.
It's kind of easy to see how it spread. Now, if it was like baseball, I would say, how the hell does it spread in baseball? Because you can avoid, for the most part, face-to-face contact with people because there's a pitcher, batter, fielders, whatever. They're spread out. But in football, you're right there with your players. So,
But it could also be that they got it from maybe because like it doesn't necessarily immediately show up on, because it also depends on what tests they were doing. Were they doing the PCR? Were they doing the rapid test? Whatever.
Are they waiting for their PCR results?
Yeah, it just depends because like the PCR doesn't necessarily, or I'm sorry, not the
it's
PCR.
not always accurate.
The rapid test. The rapid test.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rapid test doesn't necessarily always show up. You have to have a large viral load for that to show up on the rapid test. And but the PCR test is the more accurate test. So it just depends on what tests they were doing. So for all we know, Odell could have already had COVID and it's just now showing up on the rapid test if that's what they were tested him on.
Could be.
Well, I mean, it's a big deal going into the holidays and winter
playoffs
months
coming soon also.
and playoffs. So
yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be an interesting dynamic to see how that affects, the playoffs. Will playoff teams force their players to be in a bubble, and try to keep them all, within a safe area. That way they can get through the playoffs. Like it, and also, like you said, the holidays are coming up.
Concerning in general. I mean,
it's just very, and, it's getting colder. This is typically when, like the flu, the cold, and now COVID, this is typically when it starts to spike again. So it'll be very interesting to see how the NFL deals with this because, and then also it'll be interesting to see how the nation deals with it, considering are they going to start having to play without fans in stadiums again if numbers start getting really bad? There's a lot of uncertainty.
Could be a possibility again.
Coming up the road now for a season that has been so fantastic, so far, and wild and weird. It just seems like things are about to get a little more crazy. It's the Wild West, boys.
it's going to be interesting for sure. I mean, looking, like you said, going into the playoffs, it's going to be very interesting to see how they adapt. And God forbid there are COVID cases during the playoffs, because that would just be terrible.
100%. Because then, I mean, and that's why it's going to be imperative that, players get vaccinated, players take COVID protocols seriously, because, now, and when it comes to playoff time, now everything is riding on you. There is no tomorrow. Yep. Like, it's just the game in front of you. And if you're not available, you're screwing your team.
Yeah, absolutely. And going to this COVID case in Washington, I mean, apparently from what I've heard, Montez Sweat's not vaccinated, and I'm assuming he spread it to all these other players who I assume are vaccinated. I'm not really sure how if that story is correct, but from what I've heard, I mean, it's just crazy to see all these outbreaks going around. And I just hope everybody stays healthy, does their part. I mean, regardless of political stance, I'll say this because a good friend of mine, Parker Hamlin, sidelines Washington, he said, regardless of your political views, COVID is easily preventable if you take the necessary steps. And maybe some players were, and they just got hit with the bug, or some players weren't, and COVID bit them in the rear. And if that happens, Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing because you're letting your team down. You're not there for your team, and it's just a big mess. And I hope we get out of it soon.
Let's hope, but there's no promise that this is going to end. I mean, I think like Carlos said, I think it'll get to a point where it'll just become like an annoyance more than anything else. But who knows? That could be 2 or 3 years down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody has any idea what's going to happen. So, I mean, that's just how it is.
We don't know what other variants are down the line. Right now we got one on the way, or it's technically already here, but like we haven't really seen the worst of it. I don't feel like so.
Yeah, I think in the next 3 weeks we're really going to see.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I think we're probably going to reach a peak again as far as like cases are concerned because it's the holidays. I mean, people are together, so.
Yep. I mean, it's just a busy time with everybody out doing their shopping and whatnot.
Going to the UPS store. Yeah.
Shopping, gatherings, traveling. I mean,
it's
just it's perfect spreading season for this, for this virus. So,
and that is why, Carlos, they need to be more careful, and that's why the NFL adopted this stricter policy going in to these winter months with the holidays, and I really like that because they're being proactive and taking the necessary steps to make sure there aren't big outbreaks. But I mean, unfortunately,
they gotta protect that capital too. You know what I'm saying? They have to. They have to bring in the money, man. You know what I'm saying? Without,
especially after last season, with all the money they lost, they need to make it up. And so far, they're doing a great job at making it up. The salary cap's about to jump huge next year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They got to keep it up.
Oh, yeah. I saw that salary cap. My goodness.
Some NBA salaries out here.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy how high that salary cap jumped. It's just incredible to me. Like seeing that and what the teams can do with that next year, but that's another conversation for another day. So without further ado, we have our big storyline headlines out of the way. Let's talk some football, boys. Are we ready?
Yep.
You ready, Carlos? Dan, are you ready? Let's go.
Let's do it. I'm ready to get out of the headlines. Let's jump into the games. Come on.
Let's get it going. So we have a special guest joining us here shortly, CJ from the HOGSIDE podcast. He will join us as well to break down this Washington versus Dallas football game. But first and foremost, before we get into the big specifics, like, Did it surprise you, Carlos, that Dallas shipped in their benches to FedEx Field?
Oh, here we go with this.
No, we are. Did you not read why they did it?
Yeah, I mean,
a bunch of butthurt Washington fans.
Like, why are you like? No, let's move on. I'm not.
I know, seriously. I'm not.
No, move on from this. Move on from this. I don't want to talk about this. This is such a dumb story.
So you weren't surprised about it at all?
No, but why wouldn't they ship theirs in? Your team is garbage and can't even get working heated benches.
They might have sewage dump on their bench
because you wanted me to crap all over your team right now.
Well,
I don't want to do that. Move on from this dumb story. It's not a story. Who cares?
Sewage spilled. Oh, wait. No, that was in FedEx Field. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, any way you look at it, this game was just awful. And yeah, I mean, from Washington's standpoint, absolutely awful. And I don't have a lot of nice to say about this game also, but Carlos, I'd like to get your thoughts. First and foremost, Dallas's defense, they look like a bunch of studs that just came together and they're wrecking havoc on Taylor Heineke in this game.
Yeah, this was the first game since week 1, I believe, that we got DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory back in, and it
pretty good. Worked out well.
Pretty good because that also opens the lane for Micah Parsons, who is an absolute animal. Defensively, Kirby, we were wrong about one thing though. Diggs did not get an interception, which was very surprising. We thought
the amount of bad balls Heineke
he had a few chances. Y'all
had a few chances, but did not cash in.
Well, I mean, at least, we cashed in turnover wise. Like
I mean,
got
you
our
didn't
turnovers.
cash in on the easy interceptions. Then Heineke made the mistake of throwing in triple
Okay,
and quadruple coverage.
Congratulations. We still got our turnovers, though. We still got them.
Yes, you did, but still, you could have had more. If
We could have. We also
football.
should have been winning 38-0, and we didn't do that in the first half. We should have beat the brakes off you guys the way we beat the brakes off the Falcons.
You did beat the brakes off of us.
No, we did not.
That was garbage time right
we
there.
beat the brakes off, but
That was a
defensively
garbage
we beat
time
the brakes
touchdown.
off of you.
That was a garbage
Defensively,
time
we beat
touchdown
the
for
brakes off
Washington.
of you. But offensively, we are bad right now. We are not in good shape offensively. Dallas, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Dak Prescott. Obviously, we know what's wrong with Zeke. Oh, hold on. What's going on, Kirby?
Yeah, we're getting CJ from the Hog Side. He's coming on. CJ from the Hog Side, a podcast, Washington football team, another connection. CJ, welcome.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
There we
Hey.
go.
How's it going, man?
CJ, what's up, man?
What's going on? What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Hey, not a problem, man. Thanks for hopping on here with the three-man booth and CJ from the Hog Side, just jumping into the Washington versus Dallas matchup. And I mean, Carlos was talking about how big Dallas's defense was and how Taylor Heineke was just getting beat up all day.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. It was a sloppy game on both sides. Dallas defense did most of the damage. Dallas offense was sloppy, very sloppy throughout the whole game. There was some things. Dak is going to be Dak, Amari Cooper is going to be Amari Cooper, but I think that the defense for Washington did a very good job with trying their best to. They did a very good job of trying their best to manage the game as much as possible.
I'll put that more on Dak is just not playing well right now, more than Washington's defense. To be honest,
that too.
It's both. I think it's both. I think Washington's defense needed. I mean, they stepped up in the second half. I mean, they were down a lot. We all know that, and they made a lot of really decent plays, especially getting off the field on third down. I thought was huge for them in the second half, and was one of the biggest reasons why they were able to slowly get back in the game, and they didn't have enough time to obviously do it. But yeah, I thought it was definitely a huge turnaround from the first half to the second half of that defense.
Absolutely.
Dallas took their foot off the gas. Let's be honest here. Dallas took their foot off the gas in the second half because they thought they had
they were up by a lot.
That's what I'm saying. They thought they had it. The defense was like, we've already beaten.
Yeah.
We knocked out the quarterback. We knocked out. It's not like Heineke was playing that great. And I mean, honestly, Kyle Allen came in and had
he played
a lot better.
He played all right. He was 4 of 9, which isn't anything to write home about. But
for the time he had, he played a lot better than Heineke did.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I say this was more of Dallas. The past 4 games they've only scored 6 offensive touchdowns. It's ridiculous. I think the Lions have more touchdowns in the past, 4 games than us.
Oh my!
It's just we don't look good. I don't feel great. I'm happy for the win. Sure, 9-4 is better than 8-5.
You know what?
I'm not happy with.
I'm sick of complaining when your team wins.
Oh, stop, Dan. Says the guy who was also complaining every time the Ravens were winning. Don't come at me about that. Don't come at me. Okay, I know what this. I don't.
I'm always blessed for the win. You know that,
and that's why us Dallas fans are very frustrated because we know what this Dallas team should look like. The defense is playing amazing right now, but the offense isn't there, and we've seen the offense the way it is.
No,
that's why we're frustrated. We're not like.
All right.
The thing about Dallas, right? Because I have siblings who are also Dallas fans, so we talk a lot about Washington and Dallas. And I told my brother before the game, it's like the thing about Dallas is you never know what offense is going to come on that field.
Bingo.
And that's just how it has been the whole season. You might get Dak Prescott 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. But then on the other hand, you might get Dak Prescott 10 for 25, 150 passing yards, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. So it's a lot of inconsistencies on that Dallas offense and not being able to utilize the proper weapons that they have. I mean, you have you have the best wide receiver core in the league, and that's an arguable statement. I don't think anybody will argue me down on that. They have the best wide receiver core in the league. They have one of the top running backs in the league. I think Zeke is far better than what Dallas. I think Dallas is harboring him a little bit. I think they're sort of like putting him in the box, and you got to let a running back like that just go ahead and just be explosive.
Agreed.
Yeah. I also think Dak kind of I think he held onto the ball too much in the second half too. Like if you go back and watch, he took a lot of like on a couple of those interceptions, he was just holding on to the ball too long. Like you got to get the ball out. And look, Dallas, I mean, they have the most talented receiving core. I mean, CJ just said it, you just short routes. I mean, these guys can run after the catch. We've seen it before. Like you don't need to run like a fancy, pass design to get these guys open. I mean, they can run slants and get open and then run after the catch. So, I mean, they have the speed and separation to do it, but
it's just, I don't know what Kellen Moore is doing with this offense right now because I
was just about to throw that out there.
Kellen Moore's he just has lost his fastball. Like
I honestly don't think he's right
calling
for that.
Wide receiver screens on 3rd and 8. And I'm like, what are we doing here? It just makes no sense. And then also he's so committed to running the ball up the middle when going into this game, Washington didn't have any of their starting defensive ends in this. Why are we not trying to run it outside of the box? Like, why are we not attacking their weaknesses, taking what they give us? We're so committed into going into their strength. And I don't know. It was just a bad offensive performance for Dallas. Now, again, the saving grace is the defense. The defense looked incredible. But I mean,
it was nice to have Randy Gregory back, huh?
It's nice to have him, Demaryius Lawrence, and to have Micah Parsons playing at the level he's playing.
Killing it, yeah.
I mean,
here's the crazy part, right? This is what I was looking at during the game is that 24-0 halftime, and at that point, as a Washington fan, it was like, well, wishful thinking, but injuries played a big part, and Ron Rivera is very big on next man up. That's his bread and butter.
I agree.
For the season is next man up. But I just don't think, none of these guys stepped up. And I just think as a whole team, as an effort, just didn't step up. Taylor Heineke didn't step up. The offensive line didn't step up. Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, they were brutal.
Antonio Gibson added another fumble to his fumble resume this season. The defense, they let a lot of things go. Jamin Davis just have to be better. It just looked like everything was just so discombobulated. And I think that happened when we lost even the backups that we had on that defensive line. Not having James Smith-Williams and Casey Toohill played a big factor in this game. They're not Chase Young or Montez Sweat, but this last 4-game win streak, they have been playing very phenomenal with the addition with having the interior still stacked there, and it just makes me scared a little bit with coming against Philly, losing 12 guys so far due to COVID.
Yeah. So, CJ, I'd like to get your thoughts because for the Washington segments, I like to. Number one, put a spotlight on content creators from other podcasts and number two, get an outside opinion besides ours, because I feel like it mixes in some pizzazz into the podcast. So, one thing,
big word.
Thank you.
So one thing, because Kirby's all doom and gloom. We need some optimism on Washington. Jesus.
So anyways, CJ, this Washington team was on a 4-game winning streak coming into this game against Dallas. And yes, you have the storylines. Mike McCarthy guarantees a win. The benches. Yeah. I mean, obviously that's stuff.
Stop bringing up the benches. That wasn't a storyline.
Yeah. But anyways, that's just stuff leading up to this rivalry. Washington comes out and they lay an egg. And in my opinion, they forgot, I mean, in my opinion, they forgot that they were on a 4-game winning streak. In my opinion, by the way they played. I mean, this team was on a 4-game winning streak, and the train just came off the tracks.
Honestly, I think that it was just overall, just the whole team, the whole organization, like as a whole, and that also comes with the fans. If you look at the game, there was 60% more Dallas fans than Washington fans at that game.
Good point.
It's
deflating.
It makes it bad. It makes it bad when Dallas has a first down and you hear more cheering that is going on than the other side of the ball.
You could hear the Coop chants on TV.
Yeah, exactly. So
that was surprising, to be honest.
That also plays a part when you're playing these type of games, and we got 5 more games like this. So this isn't over. This isn't over. Please expect to see Philly fans overcrowd Washington. Please expect for these Giants. I'm not sure if we have the home field advantage against the Giants.
Yeah, the Giants are on the road.
Yeah. So again, make no mistake, I've been to a Giants Washington game before, and those Giants fans do come down from the tri-state. They do travel from the tri-state to the FedEx Field when they play at FedEx Field. So just expect for this to happen. The whole game, it was the disappointment. Because I get that there were injuries, there were COVID hit. I get that part, right? But this is where a 53-man roster plays in part. You have these guys so that that at any given time your starters are going to be depleted. You got to get the next man up, right? So when you plug these guys in, you got to expect better for these guys, and it kind of sucks because when you bring in this third string, for a fact that they're not going to do their best, right? But it's what you expect of them. And then when they drop the ball, you don't want them on the team anymore. And it's kind of like a bad rap. But at the end of the day, this is what you get paid for. You're in the NFL, and this is a rivalry game. It's not just any game, So this Dallas game, it was – the one thing that really stood out to me about this Dallas game, though, is the fact that the team didn't give up in the second half, right? I think, even if Dallas did let up on the gas, I think that Kellen Moore just didn't know what to do. I think Kellen Moore does a piss poor job of game management. I think he really has a poor experience of game management, and this is not just me saying it from a Washington fan. This is me seeing Dallas, and how they have been producing. We've seen Dallas rack up 25 points as a deficit in the first half, but then at the end of the game, you see them only lose by 7 points. I'm like, what is going on? So I think the game overall was great. I hate to have to lose to Dallas. I would be okay with losing to Philly. We'll be okay with losing to the Giants. I don't want to lose to Dallas, though.
Yeah.
Just swept them last season.
I was going to say, you swept us last year. We're going to sweep you this year. It's fine. It's fine. but I mean, I agree with you on the Kellen Moore front. I mean, he's just bad at managing. I mean, Greg Olsen said it best on the broadcast. That second half should have been a half where Dallas is clearly in control. They should have used that half to work out some things on the offensive side, and they just didn't do it.
The running game was working perfectly. I don't understand why Dallas even let up on the run game.
Even with Tony Pollard out, to mention that also.
Pollard out, and of course with Zeke. I mean, it looked like they had Zeke kind of on a pitch count.
Didn't they have CeeDee Lamb at running back at one point?
Yeah, but also I think you guys have a rookie running back as well. He did actually fairly not a rookie, but
we have the guy that was on that helped the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
Right, Corey Clements.
Yes.
Clement, yes.
He did actually fairly well. Mm-hmm. He did fairly well to manage the run game. So I'm not sure this was Dallas' chance to really shut out Washington for a whole nother half, and they dropped the ball.
Yeah, I agree with that. And another point you brought up was the whole there being mostly Dallas fans there. I mean, for example, because like we all went, me, Kirby, and Dan went to the Chiefs game. It was the same thing then. It was mostly Chiefs fans there. I mean, in your opinion, CJ, how do you think Washington fixes that?
Yeah, honestly, I think it goes back to like I said before. I think it goes all down to the chain of command. You know, it starts from the organization first, right? The game day experience is horrible at the FedEx Field. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You know, it's the seating is bad. A couple of games this season, you see the pipes were leaking.
Yeah, I made that joke earlier.
The concessions prices is just
ridiculous,
overpriced, and I get that we live in a nation's capital, right?
Right.
So I get that why the prices are so high, but if the price is going to be that high, you got to give back a game day experience, and there is no game day experience there. The parking passes starts off at $40, depending on what game you're going to.
Parking's $80 last I checked.
Right, like
ridiculous.
the Dallas game, the parking pass for the furthest parking spot away from the FedEx Field started at $80, and the closest you got, you were going to pay like $200-$300 for a parking pass. So
for parking, a division game?
For parking, those are game day tickets. If you ask me, those club concourse tickets. If you ask me, and like I said, the Dallas game, the 400 section started off at $250.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you want fans in the stands. Sometimes you got to bend a little to give a little, especially with everything going on with Dan Snyder. You just have to win over the fans, and you didn't win over the fans for the show that you gave us with the Sean Taylor number retirement. So
which we were there for.
This is why it is the way it is at the FedEx Field, and I'm very big on game day experience. Like I've been to M&T Bank Stadium a bunch of times with the Ravens.
Same here.
So, you know, the only thing I can say about the M&T Bank Stadium is the seating. The seats are a little steep. You know, as far as like looking down, it looks like you're about to fall over. The seats are a little bit uncomfortable, but the whole game day experience when you're walking through the concessions is not that high. You live down Baltimore, the prices is going to be a little high, but it's not outrageous, right?
Right.
FedEx Field is $15 for a beer, and it's not just like a Bud Light or anything. It's just like maybe an off-market beer for $15. It's right. It's just bad. It's just bad. You know, like you can get a Natty Boh at M&T Bank Stadium for probably about $8. You know, so it's just I'm big on game day experience, and I haven't been at the FedEx Field for a while. You know, since it's just not appeasing when you walk there.
I mean, at least you have at least you have the tags on the back of your seat that say you want a free pair of kids' sunglasses. It looks like.
So excited.
Yeah. It's just bad because like even when you see like when you look up, like even watch it from the TV, when you look at it, the fields look terrible. Even like when you see like the lower level seats, you know, you see that the lower level seats, it's just nothing there, right? It's just nothing there. You see more fans of the opposing team on the lower level sections than you see, you know, with the actual Washington fans. So, you know, fans play a big part. Fans is what pays the league. I don't care what anybody say. Fans is what pays the league. And, you know, you see like, let's say the Jaguars, they still sell out their tickets down there in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't won anything, right? But it's all about the game day experience. You know, it's about the game day experience. You get the fans to want to come to your stadium, and until that changes, it's just how it's going to be at FedEx Field.
Yep, I totally agree.
I mean, for me, I like the tailgate aspect. I think the Hog Farmers tailgate, shout out to Keith Gray there. That's a great tailgate. And I mean, walking into the stadium, yeah, I mean, the game day experience is like, it just needs to improve. But the tailgate part of it, all the tailgates you see, that was the one thing I enjoyed out of it.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's one thing I was going to touch on is that the one thing that I do love about going to the FedEx Field is, different organizations like the hog farmers, like Josh was talking about, the hog farmers, different other charitable organizations who comes out and just, tailgate with the fans and invite fans to come over and tailgate with them. And it creates a whole big experience, right? And those fans to want to keep coming back, but I don't think it should be left up to these organizations to, it's like, we're paying you millions of dollars. We're fans are literally paying millions of dollars. We're buying season tickets. You got to give us something, but one thing I can say is they do value the season ticket holders a lot, right? Like, I think season ticket holders get great benefits with being season ticket holders. So, that's one thing that I can't give a plus for. But if you're not a season ticket holder, I'm just going to say your game day experience probably sucks.
I did get these Pit Vipers at that Washington-Tampa game for free. Yeah.
Some nice shades. See,
yeah, for free. Their van was out there. I thought that was pretty cool. But I mean, yeah, besides that, Washington has a lot to work on. Yeah, after this game, the score was misleading, just to say the least. 27-20 at FedEx Field. The Dallas Cowboys take a lead in the division of the Washington football team with a 1-1 split in the division so far, but a crucial stretch to wrap things up on this segment for Washington. CJ, how do you see Washington moving forward?
There's a lot that has to happen. Of course, like I said, 10 players on the roster, was listed under the COVID with two practice squad players. They have been signing guys from the practice squad and just signing guys. I'm glad to see Nate Orchard back on the squad. But moving forward, I just think that, the coaching just needs to be better. We've seen it on a 4-game win stretch, that the coaching just has been far more better. Everything has been less conservative and more aggressive. We've seen Scott Turner open the playbook a little bit more during his 4-game stretches. Of course, having Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Randy Gregory, come channeling at you every down. Of course, it gets a little rattling, but I think injuries did play a part this game, and this is what happens. Our offensive line, Tyler Lawson went down. That was an open in the hole, and then Lucas went down, and then that was a wrap for that as well. So moving forward, Washington just has to find a way to just bounce back with all the injuries and everything coming away. There are some guys that is coming back next week. Hopefully, maybe we'll see Montez Sweat. J.D. McKissick is supposed to be back next week. So, there is some hope with this offense, and hopefully this defense can get it together.
Any last words, boys?
I can't wait for the matchup in 2 weeks because Dallas is going to rebound real hard and beat the brakes off of Washington, offensively and defensively.
That's on Sunday night, the day after Christmas. What I want for Christmas is a Dallas loss.
That's not going to happen.
That would be nice, though. Once again, CJ.
You're getting a lump of coal for that one.
Once again, CJ joining us from the HOGSIDE. Find them on Twitter at theHOGSIDE. CJ, any big things coming up for the HOGSIDE podcast?
Yes, we are officially back with streaming live. We've been on a 2-week hiatus with some unfortunate family issues, but we are officially back starting tomorrow at 7 p.m. We are back with the HOGSIDE trivia. We will be asking different history questions based on the Washington football team. Some old, a lot of new stuff. So definitely tune in for that. We also have merch that's coming as well.
All right, CJ, appreciate you hopping on with us. It's been a real blast, and this is the Kirby on Sports podcast. Once again, the final score, Dallas 27, Washington 20. We'll be back with more right after that. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. All right, welcome back. Thank you once again to CJ from the Hog Side for coming on to talk about the Washington versus Dallas matchup and the game day experience as well. Moving on to the next game on our slate of games we are touching on. It is the Bucs versus the Bills, a 425 slot. That I watched this game and I was like, wow, the Bills are traveling downhill. Yeah, I mean, are they coming off the rails? That's what I was thinking. That was my thought process. Then they slowly and surely mount a comeback. It comes into overtime, and you can never doubt Tom Brady. You can never doubt
him.
And possibly this year's MVP.
I wouldn't be surprised. Crazy game.
Nobody, I mean, he's defied age, logic, physics. He just continually does it. I mean, how is he not the MVP? That's what I would say.
Well, I mean, considering, just the way this year has gone, it's not like anybody's really gone above and beyond to really stand out the way like Aaron Rodgers last year or the Lamar Jackson year or, the Patrick Mahomes year. Like nobody's really taking control this year. And it's just like when you look at his stats, he's leading in a lot of the major categories. So
he's got 36 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's gonna get 50. He's gonna get 50 this year. I guarantee.
God, it's insanity.
And he knows how to slide pretty well too.
And he's still mobile. Like, how is he able to move? I mean, he's. You guys
saw that video he posted today, right? Yeah. You guys saw it.
I did not. I saw it. I forgot to click on it, and I forgot to scroll back on it.
All he was doing was just making a joke about how Tony Romo said that he couldn't run, and Peyton Manning obviously lowered his speed in Madden, so he was just poking some fun at them and showing clips of him running during the Bills game. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah, because they made Peyton Manning like a Madden ratings adjuster.
Yeah.
I thought that was. I saw that video. A ratings adjuster.
That's a cool job, I'm sure.
But back to this game. I mean, I even put it in the group message after the first half. I was like, the Bills stink. Like they just start, and then I had to rescind that comment by the end of the game. I was like, yeah, I take that back. The Bills are actually good, but their problem is they don't have a running game, and that is starting to hurt them. Josh Allen had to run
the ball.
109 yards.
Yeah, he had a run. He got 100+ yards. He's doing
Lamar
everything
Jackson.
Right now. He's pretty quick though. Like he is fast.
Yeah, he's quick.
He's not as shifty as Lamar.
That is crazy.
But I mean,
he carried this team.
Yeah, the Bills are in an interesting position right now because sure it was an admirable performance, coming back but they still lost. And they're now, what are they? 7-6.
7-6 on the season.
They're 2 games behind the Patriots with a game still to play against the Patriots in Foxborough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
This was a team that was favored to win the Super Bowl. Like, what's going on? Like, why has this gone it really has gone off the rails lately. And yeah, you can say they've had, some bad luck, or not really bad luck, but like they didn't get the balance of the ball, the Titans, that Titans game, you could say, Josh Allen slips. There's another game that I can't think of right now, but I know there was something that didn't go their way. But yeah, I mean, for Buffalo, they're in an interesting spot because basically their season's on life support right now. Like they need to turn this around and turn it around fast. For the Bucs, I mean,
It's the Bucs.
It's the Bucs. I mean, offensively, they still perform pretty well in the second half. It's just they didn't get anything really going. They definitely performed a lot better than Dallas did, in the second half. But I don't know. I'm not worried about Tampa letting that huge lead go and then having to win in overtime. I'm not worried about it. I think they're fine.
Yeah, I think you just summed it up well. But here's the thing with Bills, Josh Allen, had 417 of their 466 total yards. That's just bonkers. That's bonkers.
That's incredible.
He put the team on his back. He's like Greg Jennings. He's like Greg Jennings or Lamar Jackson.
Sometimes it works, but in other cases, it probably 9 times out of 10 it won't work. Unless you're Lamar Jackson or
you fall behind by 3 scores in the first half, and you have a slim chance to come back. Now they did come back and tie it, obviously, because the game went to overtime, which that was a great ending for them to come back and tie that game. That was a lot of fun to watch. It feels like the Bills have just in a lot of games this year, they've just come up short in moments when they have to make 1 or 2 more plays. And I mean, you could argue that most games are like that. But of course that Tennessee game, a 3-point loss, they had a 3-point loss to Jacksonville back in week 9. That was brutal.
That was abysmal because they got nothing going.
Oh yeah.
And then a 4-point loss to New England and a 6-point loss in this game. I mean, and then their other loss was opening week to Pittsburgh by 7. So all their games have been close, like 1 or 2 more plays, and they could be undefeated. But hey, it's the NFL, and it's all about really, to me, playoff football is about what team can establish the run best. I think in a lot of circumstances, and it really goes back to that grinded out type of old fashioned football. And the Bills have really struggled to do that. I mean, they put, like I said, and like Carlos said, they put all of their chips into Josh Allen to do this every week. He's not going to be able to do it. He's not going to be able to, do this time and time again. He played a great game. He just didn't make enough plays, and of course the interception was costly too. The Bills, that division is strange. The AFC playoff picture is the NFL playoff picture in general is strange. The Bills are the 7th seed right now. But that could change. There's teams that are right on the doorstep there with the same record. I mean, you have 3 other teams behind them that have 7-6 records. So the Bills really can't afford to have any more slip ups. That defense is not great. That defense is not very good.
So let me ask you all this. Okay. Where do we see this Bills team in terms of the playoffs?
I mean, honestly,
it's so tough. It's tough.
It's just even in the NFC, it's like just there's so many teams still in play here. Like, yeah. I mean, honestly, Miami could overtake them at some point.
They could.
Again, the problem for Buffalo is they still have 1 game against the Patriots. They still have that game. It's away. It's in Foxborough, and the weather conditions will be better, sure, I imagine. But, I mean, it's still, it's still in hostile territory. That's the concerning thing. They might be fighting just to get the 7th seed, to be honest. I think that's the best. If they can beat the Patriots, then I think they'll be fine. But if they lose to the Patriots, they're going to be fighting tooth and nail for that 7th seed.
Yeah, and first things first, they gotta beat a very lowly Panthers team. So I mean that has to come first. If they lose on Sunday, it's over. I mean it's over for them. So got to take care of that game first. But yeah, you said it, Carlos. I mean, who would have thought like 5 weeks ago that we would be talking about the Patriots?
Who would have thought because at the beginning of the season
crazy.
it was Buffalo, Miami,
yep,
New England's in a rebuild. Like they're gone, and here they are. The Empire's back. The Empire's striking back.
And Mac Jones only has to throw it like 3 times, and
and they can still win.
It's just insane. I mean, it's Belichick just flexing his coaching goat muscles. Really.
Dang it, we were so close to getting rid of him, and here we are.
Here we are.
I mean,
yeah, but I'll say one last thing about Buffalo. I think if they can get into the playoffs, that's when they can be dangerous. They are.
Yeah.
They're a solid team, and they have a playoff history. So if they get in, they could be very dangerous. Obviously,
it would be a very dangerous 7 seed for sure.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, 100%.
And I'll just say, for the Bucs real quick, because I didn't have any chance to say anything about that. I mean, Tom Brady's the GOAT. Tom Brady's the GOAT.
Is there really much anything bad we have to say about that?
There's no discussion. There's just no discussion at all. Brady, week after week, goes out and proves that he's the GOAT. He should not be playing this well at his age. It's physically
Can
impossible.
I just say one thing? Washington did beat the GOAT this year.
God.
So
Shut up.
Stop.
God.
That's their Super Bowl. What did I say after they won that game? I said,
every time.
I said, this is Washington's Super Bowl.
Dan, we're implementing a new rule here. For every time Kirby brings that game up, Dan gets one free smack to be paid in full during the Super Bowl show.
There we go. Live.
On camera.
Live.
From here on out, if you bring that up every time we talk about Tampa Bay, you're getting smacked one time by Dan. And I will keep count.
There's several of them adding up there, Josh.
I just threw that out because I knew it would be funny, but there's not a bad thing to say about this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. This segment is basically...
there is one thing. They're struggling on the secondary. They're still losing guys left and right. It's becoming an issue for them. I mean, they had Richard Sherman playing safety. Like, when the hell has he ever played safety?
I will say
that's the one concerning thing I think for Tampa.
Yeah, but I will say in their defense in this game, I mean, the Bills are loaded as well on offense. I mean, you talk about how, of course, we know how Cole Beasley and Stephon Diggs have played, but Dawson Knox, what an incredible addition he's been to this team.
Oh yeah,
he has. I mean, I signed him the week his first start in fantasy, and he was fantastic for me. He's been fantastic ever since. Didn't check my fantasy team this past week, rip, because I lost every game and it was brutal. But sets a sidebar, obviously. But yeah, I that's a great point, Carlos, and I think that's another thing. Like, if the Bucs are going to make a run to the Super Bowl, which they should, I mean, they are. I mean, it's them and the Packers, really.
So I mean, it's so tough.
That's it right now. But Tampa's just, I mean, I hate to say unbeatable because that word is so overused, but
no, I think Green Bay can definitely beat them. I think they can.
I don't know.
I think they can. They've been playing pretty good. Their defense is a lot better this year than it was last year.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
I think Green Bay could be, and especially because with Green Bay now being the 1 seed, I mean, that's all stuff we can talk about later. But in conclusion, I'm not worried about Tampa. Hopefully they can get healthy. Buffalo, they really don't have any room to mess up because right now they're fighting for their playoff lives right now.
Yep.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. So the Bucs over the Bills in overtime, 33-27. The last but not least on our list of games to cover, the Rams beating the Cardinals. The Cardinals had some COVID issues that may or may not play a factor into this game, but I will give you my one takeaway. Nothing to do with the
Cardinals, or was it the Rams who had the issues? Because the Rams were missing Jalen Ramsey.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, the Rams, not the Cardinals. I was like, the Rams.
Was it the Cardinals? Okay, yeah. It was the Rams. My bad.
Excuse me. Yeah, that was my fault there. But anyways, the Rams managed to come out with a pretty impressive win. Kyler Murray back, DeAndre Hopkins back. I mean, I thought that they would have played a big part, but I'll get to that in a moment. But what I found very interesting and very unique about this game is that Rams wide receiver Van Jefferson caught a touchdown. And on the opposing sideline, the Cardinals receivers coach, his father, was on the sideline. He saw him make that touchdown, and he got so upset with somebody on the sideline or something because somebody blew a coverage there. I just found that to be hilarious. His dad got mad because his son on the opposing team caught a touchdown. And at the end of the game, Van Jefferson gave the game ball to his father.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool little tidbit there. Yeah, I saw that on social media.
So weird. That'd be weird.
That would be
like, how do you react
Here's
as a
the
dad?
game ball.
But like, how do you react as a dad? Like, you're coaching the other team. You're like, do you celebrate? Do you not celebrate?
He's your son, though. You have to. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Was he happy? Was he not? Because he seemed pissed. But I mean, like, come on, it's your son. He just caught a big touchdown.
Right.
Like, what do we do? Like,
what are we doing out here?
I feel like he was just so conflicted because he's like, I mean, it was against my team. Now we're losing, but like, it's my son. Like, I don't know. I would be better him than me because I wouldn't know how to react in that situation.
This reminds me of one other thing, and I'm gonna go on a quick sidebar. Joe Tessitore calling his son's college game.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. How do you stay? It's so hard to stay.
I saw that call, and I was like, who let this man call that game?
He probably got assigned at the beginning of the season. That's normally what happens.
But that's my sidebar on that. But it was very cool to see a nice father-son moment by Van Jefferson and his father, and he gets the game ball even though the Cardinals lost this game.
Yeah, and the key thing for this game for me is, they kept Kyler Murray off the scoreboard. I mean, no passing touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns. Cardinals were sloppy. I mean, straight up, they were sloppy in this game. And James Conner had 2 touchdowns, but only 31 yards. So that is just wild in and of itself. I mean, they used him a lot in the red zone, so that's how they scored their points. They scored their 2 touchdowns. That's all they scored. So, the Cardinals. I don't know what to make of them. I know that they've battled injuries, and like you said, they're starting to get guys back. So I don't know if this is a telltale for me. But
they've had guys back for like the past 2 weeks. It feels like. I mean, they put up that interesting stat during the broadcast of they just play better on. They're 7-0 on the road, but they're 5. Well, now they're 5-3 on the at home. I think it's 3 now. It would have to be 3 now because it's like 5-2. Like they just play better on the road for some reason. And I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, come on, like you got a backup on you. It's not even Jalen Ramsey. And this dude pretty much shut him down for the most part. I mean, Hopkins didn't do much this game, and he's supposed to be, one of the best receivers in the league. And he just did not show up for this fight for this game.
Yeah. And he had a key drop when they needed a catch. That was a bizarre play in and of itself. But yeah, that you pretty much said it. I mean, I don't really know what to make of the Cardinals. I think if they get in and they have home field advantage, or they have at least one home playoff game, depending on where they seed, that could be an issue for them if they have to host a playoff game. So I don't know. I can't really put my finger on them because they've only lost 3 games this year, but you look at their loss on, at home against Carolina, where they got absolutely crushed 34-10 in that game, which was a
back on the bench.
Yeah, he's back. Oh boy. So yeah, I mean, they're hard to gauge right now. That's all I'll say about the Cardinals.
I agree.
Well, I'm worried about, I mean, in their case, it'll be hard for them to get the number 1 seed now, because now the Packers have, the head-to-head on them. Yep. Tampa has the better conference record.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Arizona still has some tough. I mean, they still got the game against Dallas coming up, but who knows how that game is actually going to play out when it does come, because it's like week 17 that game is happening. Right? Yeah. I don't remember. It's happening later in the season. And then they still got a game against the Colts, in which I think the Colts can very much beat them. So, I mean, they're right now just fighting just to stay above Dallas, in my opinion, because I think Dallas might overtake them for that 3rd seed.
Yeah, and especially that defense has struggled at times as well. I mean, they've had some issues, and this game was no exception. I mean, Matt Stafford just lit them up. 23 of he only had 70 completions and 3 touchdowns, and almost threw for 300 yards. So they have a ton of issues in that secondary. And did they cover Cooper Kupp at all? I mean, there was 2 catches he didn't make, But my God, he had 13 catches and a touchdown. And it's like ridiculous. Like if you're going to cover anybody on this Rams team,
It's
any
him.
receiver, it's Cooper Kupp. It starts and ends with Cooper Kupp. Like if you don't cover him, you're asking to be beat. And that's exactly what this defense, they had no answer for him. And
Sony Michel was running pretty hard in this game. I mean, who'd have thought Sony Michel coming out of New England was actually going to be decent here in LA?
Right. He has been he's been a nice touch to this offense as well. So
and the defense finally looked, pretty like they did.
Yeah.
They did a great job of containing Kyler Murray. And I think that's the key to success against the Cardinals they said it on the broadcast too. The Cardinals only go as Kyler Murray goes. So if Kyler Murray's off, this team is not going to do well.
Right.
And I think they kind of laid out the blueprint. You just got to contain him and stop these big plays. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins was a non-factor in this game, which is incredible considering how talented that guy is.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. And if you can shut him down and you shut Kyler Murray down, you said it. I mean, that's the blueprint to beating this team. And they don't have a running game. I mean, James Conner only like I said, they only really went to him in the red zone. I know he's been, I guess, he's got 14 touchdowns this year, but
again, he's mostly getting those while he's in the red zone. It's not like he's breaking off
2 and 3 yard runs and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah,
I mean, power back.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Rams are, the Rams could peak at the right time. This could be the run they need to make to
which is why it's imperative Dallas gets out of that 4 seed, because we don't want any piece of LA looking like this.
No, not at all.
I agree with what you all said. I'm interested to see how the Cardinals respond to this loss come next week. That's
Absolutely.
the one thing I'm looking out for.
Well, they got the Lions, so I mean they're going to beat the brakes off of them regardless. So I mean,
then there's
that's
no
a bye
issue
week.
There.
That's a bye week.
It's not.
It's a scrimmage, Carlos.
Pretty
they'll
much.
work out all the kinks there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, yeah, and if you look at the Cardinals schedule after that, I mean, they got the Colts, the Cowboys, and Seattle. I mean, 2-1 is realistic there, but honestly, they could not 2-1. Sorry,
they could go
1-2. I mean, they could go over in those games.
I was gonna say they could also go 0-3. It's very possible. Like their upcoming schedule. I mean, the Rams have an easier. I mean, the Rams could easily overtake them for the division lead and win the division.
Well,
the West is not settled at all.
Hopefully, the Ravens beat them, but I'm not holding out hope for that one.
I mean, listen. I just think the injuries are too. We'll touch on the Ravens
too much
later, but it's
too much.
It's a lot of injuries are coming, and yeah.
Only so many bodies to replace these injuries.
So the Rams 30 and the Cardinals 23. When we return, we will bring you through the hurry up offense. Stay tuned. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram, or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. All right, it is time for the hurry up offense. Gentlemen, are we ready?
Let's do it.
The Steelers and the Vikings.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, the Vikings come out with a huge lead in the first half, a 17+6 lead. I'm bad at math, but anyways.
23, Kirby.
17+6 lead.
Yeah, 17 plus
Yo,
6.
who is your math teacher?
God!
God help you.
Wow. We're running on the fly here. And the Steelers almost come and beat them.
It's a 23-point lead, Kirby.
A 23-point lead.
That's the first time I've ever heard anybody describe a score like that.
A 17+6. Yes.
I mean, he's not wrong, but it's just hilarious. Oh my god!
Yeah, the Vikings pulled it out.
He just derailed the hurry up offense with that. This isn't the hurry up offense anymore.
This is the we ran out of timeouts and our coach has poor clock management.
Oh my god!
And now we lost. Okay.
Anyways,
yeah, huge
about
lead.
Them Vikings.
Yeah, hugely. Hey, they held on. I mean, they tried to give it away. They tried to take the game away.
They held on.
Yeah,
I mean again. Go on.
Anytime Kirk Cousins involved in a game like that, you got to think that they're going to blow it at the end, and they certainly tried to do it in every way, shape, and form. Yeah, but God, Dalvin Cook though, 205 rushing yards.
What a great way to come back! What a great way to come back. But I mean, listen, this is the team that lost to the Lions. I'm not surprised by anything that happens.
Yeah, good point.
All right, anything can happen with this team.
Totally agree.
Pittsburgh still stinks, though.
They stink.
The Falcons over the Panthers, 29-21. Cam Newton's still riding the bench.
He's back on left bench.
He likes left bench. He does. He'd rather be left bench
still
than
in
right
playoff
bench.
contention.
6 and 7. The Falcons.
They're still in the hunt. They're still in the hunt.
Absolutely.
I wish they weren't, but they still are.
The Browns over Dan's Ravens. The Ravens, with all these injuries, try to mount an incredible comeback, but it falls just short.
Okay, so hold on. But before you go, Dan, let me ask you this. Who does this look like? Does this... okay, how do I word this question? Does it look bad on Baker Mayfield that with all these injuries, they only won by 2 points and it was a comeback? Or does it look great on the Ravens that even despite all these injuries, they only lost by 2?
I think you could argue both. I think as a Ravens fan, I'm more impressed with how they've been able to build that roster based upon all the injuries they've had. They've had to have a lot of guys who, frankly, I've never heard of step up and have to play. I think it's a credit to what Eric DeCosta, has been able to do to build this team, and of course John Harbaugh as well. The fact that they have 20 guys or so on the IR and they're still able to go out there and compete and be in this game. It was a 24-6 game at halftime, and pretty much the Ravens had no momentum. The third quarter pretty much came and went without them scoring, and in most people's mind, the game's over. But they didn't quit, and that's the funny thing with this team is even with the backup quarterback, terrible tackles. I mean, we have the worst tackles in football. Guys that just get their jockstrap laying on the ground after every play. I've never seen a guy like Villanueva who constantly just gets beat play after play after play. It's abysmal to watch him block. But sorry, got a little angry there. The fact that they were still able to come back, and honestly, they should have completed the comeback, but hey, they just didn't have enough time at the end there. Yeah, it's a credit to what they've been able to do. Now, the Browns have no reason to brag about this win at all. And not only were we missing Lamar, I mean, our secondary is just, there's guys, like I said, who I've never heard of before playing. So, yeah, I mean, it took that many injuries and that much dysfunction for them to beat us. So, congratulations to the Browns. This is probably the Super Bowl because they're not going to get in the postseason. They're just obnoxious. They're obnoxious. So, but the Ravens, it's going to be a tough road for the Ravens. But look, what's going to help them out to win this division as long as Cincinnati keeps losing, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. And as long as they can beat Cincinnati, which they got a little lucky this week, Cincinnati would have taken over the division lead had they've been able to beat the 49ers. I know we're going to get to that game in our hurry-up offense, so I don't want to spoil too much. But I'm not confident that this team will do anything if they make the postseason. Too many injuries.
I'm worried that they're not even going to make the postseason, to be honest.
It could go either way. I mean, their schedule's tough. I mean, they really have to get some lucky wins down the stretch here.
Packers this week, and then you got the Rams later on.
Rams,
it's not looking good.
And then 2 division games to finish out. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I can't give up on this team because they've been in just about every game minus the Cincinnati game. So I can't the first Cincinnati game. Hopefully the second one
just give up, Dan. Just call it. What's the time of death? 8:17 p.m.
I can't call it, man, because they're still winning the division. So if they were second in the division, I'd say we're done. We're done and we have no chance. But
all right, moving on. The Seahawks over the Texans.
Who cares?
Yeah, skip this one. Who gives a crap?
And the home of the
Chiefs.
Oh, that cut
Hey, how about that win? 48-9 over the Raiders. The Raiders disrespect Arrowhead Stadium by taking a team meeting on the 50-yard line, and the Chiefs took that personally, and the Chiefs come out and win 48-9.
Not only did they take that personally, they still remember losing to the Raiders last year, where then the Raiders took a lap around the stadium on the bus so that when the game was over on Sunday, the DJ, the MC guy who runs the music at the stadium played Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round at the end of the game. Top level of pettiness by the Kansas City Chiefs. I love it. We kind of talked about it earlier, off air. I mean, they've had 2 great offensive games against the Raiders, but are they? We'll see if they're really back, if they keep putting in these offensive performances. But this is a great jumpstart, I feel like, for the Chiefs. And for the Raiders, may they rest easy because they're not going to the playoffs this year.
They're done. Yeah,
they're done. They're done.
Yeah, Carlos, you said it well. But another thing, too, is like this is the time to get hot. And this is, a month before the season ends is the time that, like, those teams start to peak. So this could be it for Kansas City. They're going to show us in the last month, are they contenders or pretenders? This is it. And this next game is really going to show us where they are.
People claimed them dead and that they were done, and now they're literally tied for
a lot of people did. Yeah, a lot of people did.
Hey, I thought so too. I was like, this team just isn't it, and somehow they're on a 6-game winning streak.
They've just been great. Including some really gutsy wins. Now, it helped that they were playing when they played the Packers. I think that was when Rodgers had COVID, so that did help them a little bit. But
yes, 100%.
They've been fantastic. And look, they got this game against the Chargers. It's going to be a lot of fun here on Thursday night. So
finally, a good game on Thursday night.
It took them all season.
Listen. I don't think we want to talk about the Saints over the Jets or the Titans over the Jaguars.
Who cares?
I mean, the Jaguars one, let's just say, Urban Meyer, please just leave. You're wasting Trevor Lawrence.
Holy cow.
He's shown that he can't coach at the NFL level.
No,
it's as simple as that.
And it's fine. Not Nick Saban couldn't do it either. Now, Nick Saban ran like a coward, but, I mean, Urban, like, just go mess up a college program by not keeping them disciplined and stuff like that. Just go do that.
Back to Fox and announce. Just do what you've done before.
Just get out of the league. Like, you're wasting such a great generational talent in Trevor Lawrence. I don't even like. It just still baffles me that they hired him. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, But Dan, you've been right all along. Like,
it was a bad move from the start.
It's just not it. This just isn't it. It's just not it. Okay, moving on.
The Saints over the Jets 30-9. The Titans over the Jags 20-0. I mean, this next game too, the Broncos over the Lions 38-10. The only thing I'll say, the Broncos had their last drive 88 yards. There was a player that scored a touchdown and threw the ball on the number 88. Excuse me, not threw the ball, placed the ball. Throwing the ball just sounds disrespectful.
Yeah. Not only that, they also started the game with 10 players on the field to like commemorate like that he's there, which is very nice.
That was a touching tribute.
Yeah.
Yes. No doubt about it.
And thankfully the Lions made the right move and declined it. Can you imagine like
they accept it?
Yeah, like I feel like Matt Nagy would have accepted that penalty. He'd have been like
Matt Nagy. We're going to talk about him.
Trash coach. Just
hate
trash
Matt Nagy.
coach.
He's wasting Justin Fields.
The Chargers over the Giants.
Who Justin Herbert with that touchdown pass? Oh my God, dude!
Right.
Oh my God, that was one of the most beautiful touchdown passes I have ever seen in my life. That was awesome. But yeah, I mean, I expected this. The Giants stink, man.
They're terrible.
And, you know, it wouldn't have helped had they had Daniel Jones. It didn't matter who they were going to have playing quarterback. The Giants suck, and I'm happy they suck.
The 49ers.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't get a point here.
Sorry.
He's still bitter about Hawaii.
Sorry.
I'm back here now. I'm not in Hawaii, Josh. I will say this was David versus Goliath, but the difference was Goliath won. I mean, that was what this game is to me. So, yeah. See, now you can move to the next game. You're welcome.
All right. The 49ers over the Bengals in overtime. This was a very fun one to watch.
What a fun game this was. This was fun.
Yeah.
Guys, hold on. Do we believe in Jimmy G? Do you think Jimmy G, and do we believe in the San Francisco team to be maybe not necessarily a Super Bowl contender, but at least a problem in the playoffs?
No, I do not. They haven't shown me enough consistency, and really since they've been in the Super Bowl, in my opinion, that they are, and that Jimmy G is a prime quarterback, and that they are a prime playoff team. I'm not buying into them.
I'm a believer in Jamar Chase.
Oh my God, who isn't?
Yeah,
guy's unbelievable, and Joe Burrow is gonna have a fine career in the NFL. I mean, he is.
Let's just get this boy some protection, please.
Yeah, a lot of his passes, he has to escape the pocket on, I would say, 8 out of 10 passes downfield that are complete.
Like
I mean,
Bosa
it's ridiculous.
was feasting on this boy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Kirby's doppelganger, Joe Burrow.
All right.
That's what he asks for at the barbershop.
Okay. Last but not least, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers owning the Chicago Bears yet again.
Yep.
Well, no one's surprised by this at all.
I mean, I was actually surprised by the fact that Green Bay had to make a comeback.
Yeah, the Bears had a good first half. They played. I was surprised as well because I turned it off in the first quarter, then turned it back on right at halftime. I was like, holy crap. Like the Bears have 27 points. That must be the most points they've scored all season. But the Packers woke up in the second half. The sleeping giant awoke.
Adams made a great point. I think it was Devontae Adams. I think it was him. Why taunt Aaron Rodgers with the belt celebration? He made a great point. He was like, when has that ever worked? You guys have not beaten Aaron Rodgers in God knows how long. He literally said in the last game, I still own you all my bleeping life. I've owned you. And you get one sack and then you hit the championship belt celebration in his face. Like, when does that work? And then you go out and lose this game. Like,
yeah,
like, what are we doing?
It's one thing if it's like a strip sack in the fourth quarter, right? And the Bears,
and it's like game sealing,
right. But it's another thing to do it like, was it early in the game? Because I must have missed.
Yeah, it was like in the first quarter, I want to say.
Yeah, that's stupid. That kind of stuff comes back to bite you. But speaking of it, you know, they said, or Rodgers said that he re-aggravated that fractured pinky toe, so he might have to get surgery. He doesn't. They don't really know for sure yet.
Well, he was saying that. I mean, they said it. I think it was on the broadcast that like he said that like it healed up enough over the bye week, but like he can't get it stepped on at all. But like he wasn't wearing any extra protection on it either. So
I think they said he re-aggravated it in the game, though. That's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
he said it afterwards, which is concerning. I think. I mean, if you don't have Aaron Rodgers, who knows?
No, I think he'll play through it. But it'll definitely be interesting to see how it affects him because, obviously one of Rodgers' big things is mobility and making plays out of the pocket and, off balance throws and stuff like that. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that affects him. But in terms of Chicago, fire Matt Nagy, get him out.
Why are they
get
waiting
him
so
out
long?
And give me a coach that will properly develop Justin Fields into the talent we know the boy is.
I agree. I agree.
Bring anybody in for real. Like bring Lovie Smith back for.
Bring in Doug Peterson for all I care. Bring him back. Okay, he's had a year off. Bring it. He'll do a lot better with Justin
Jim
Fields.
Caldwell for crying out loud.
Jim Caldwell. Yes, that's a great pick.
Why does he not have a job? And it's
Jay Gruden for crying out loud.
Don't bring the Grudens back up ever again.
Leave them away from the NFL. They can get out. Yeah,
keep them far away.
Yes.
How dare you bring? You know what? Move on. That is the hurry up offense.
That was the hurry up offense. What to look out for in wrapping things up right after this.
Hey there, this is Mark Francis of Icon Real Estate. If you have any real estate needs in the Winchester surrounding area, including West Virginia, give me a call. I've got extensive experience, been in the business for almost 20 years, and would love to help you out. Track me down at Icon Real Estate, iconsells.com, or even give me a call, 540-247-1527. Again, Icon Sells, ICONSELLS.com, and I would love to chat with you and help you out. Give me a call.
We are back wrapping things up. Gentlemen, what are we looking out for?
Boy, I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what. I'm looking at Chiefs Chargers, man. It has to be the Chiefs and Chargers because that's a huge divisional game. We get to see who kind of gets the upper hand there in that division with the Chargers a game behind the old Chiefs here. Chargers win and they are in first place. It's as simple as that. Can the Chiefs show us that they're for real? We'll find out. Stay tuned to Thursday Night Football.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you, Kirby. You know what game I'm looking forward to?
What?
Philly, Washington. Because if Philly wins, Dallas is NFC East champs.
That's a good one. No, that's a good pick.
If that happens, we will be having a celebration on this podcast on the next episode.
Carlos, bring the cake, please.
I have something planned for when we officially, because if Washington wins, then it's just going to come down to when we play them in Dallas in 2 weeks, which will be an even sweeter celebration if that happens. But if it happens this week,
I like the Patriots and Colts. I think that's going to be a very close matchup.
That's
the one thing I don't like.
I don't trust in Carson Wentz though.
No, I don't trust him either.
I don't. Why are we doing a Saturday slate of football now? Like, I understand college football is like done.
2 Saturdays, week 15.
They always do that.
Christmas
don't they?
Day, you have 2 games. Why? I mean, the NBA kind of owns Christmas, and
that's normally there's, but I think it's just the NFL's getting greedy about it, and they want
they're getting
it's dollar bills, y'all.
Christmas plus the All Madden documentary.
Yeah,
don't forget about that.
I'm not gonna watch that.
All right, whatever.
I'll watch it maybe like if it's on streaming stuff, but I'm not gonna like go out of my way to watch it.
I'll say the Pats Colts game is interesting, but why are the Colts favored? Why are the Colts a 2.5-point favorite?
Where's the game?
It's in Indy, but
that's probably why, because they're the I don't trust in Carson Wentz. I don't.
Yeah, but who's been playing hotter than the Patriots? I mean, there's not a lot of teams, you know.
But I mean, there's some money to be made there.
I know who I'd pick. I definitely pick the.
I would pick the Patriots 100%.
Yeah.
That's about all the time we have for this edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Once again, the weapon Dan Dembski and the Swiss Army knife Carlos Martinez. Gentlemen, always a pleasure.
Always. It's always an honor and a privilege, sir.
Carlos is pointing at our holiday card. I guess I'm supposed to wish all of you a safe and happy holiday season, even though we are recording next week.
Yeah, we'll be back right before the,
listen,
Christmas.
Hanukkah's happening right now, guys.
That's
okay.
True.
God, I'm just trying to be inclusive.
That's true.
Happy holidays, everyone.
See, the only
this week
thing
after
is,
week.
I try to be nice. I send Carlos a card. He calls me on the phone and makes fun of my design.
Make this a clip, all right? Look at this letterhead from the desk of Josh Kirby, and then he signed it.
I know. I saw that.
He's a big name celebrity.
I wasn't gonna make fun of him, but I thought it was. I thought he was like Tom Cruise or like the president or something.
He even did like a.
That's what it reminded me of.
I'm not gonna show that on camera anymore. He even did. It's like a rock star signature, just like quick like that. I'm like, all right, Kirby, if that's how you really feel.
He has fans. We're just the groupies, and he's the superstar. Like, I mean, what? Obviously, I was joking, but
Dan, I'm no groupie. Don't insult me like that.
I know. You're the Swiss Army knife, Carlos.
You goddamn right, and you're the damn weapon, Dan.
Boom, boom.
Thanks to Trumbull Insurance Agency. Contact Patrick Van Kemper for all your insurance needs. 540-532-0622 for our sponsors. PM Plus Reserve, Shenandoah Primitives, and Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate. Make sure you find the Kirby on Sports podcast, anything and everything, at KirbyOnSports.com. Until the next time you hear us, always remember to create greatness. So long and peace out.